On the day of Valentine's Day 2001, I attended my classmate's wedding. During our college days, we were always good friends who had nothing to say to each other. We experienced many challenges and difficulties during our college years, but we always supported and encouraged each other. We still kept close contact after graduation. When she invited me to her wedding, I was very happy. My husband also accompanied me. The whole wedding was beautifully decorated and full of romantic atmosphere. The venue was decorated with beautiful flowers and gorgeous ribbons. At the moment they exchanged rings, I felt a little sick. I felt a sharp pain. I am not a person who likes to make a fuss in public, but this time I couldn't control myself. I groaned in pain. My husband looked at me in surprise, and he immediately noticed my abnormality. He asked anxiously, "My God, what's wrong with you?" I tried to tell him, but the pain prevented me from speaking properly. I felt my body gradually becoming weaker and my vision began to blur. I kept praying in my heart that I would not interfere with my female classmate's wedding. My husband gently assisted me. We slowly made our way through the crowd toward the entrance of the church. However, the moment I reached the entrance of the church, I couldn't hold on any longer. I suddenly felt the whole world start to spin. I collapsed helplessly to the ground. My husband knelt beside me in panic, and he tried to wake me up, but I did not respond. I felt my consciousness gradually move away from my body. As my consciousness left, I felt that I was entering a whole new realm. I felt no physical pain or distress, only lightness and freedom to exist. My vision became vast. I felt a peace I had never felt before. I was floating in midair, and I saw the people attending the wedding gathered around, all of them looking at me. One of them began to perform CPR on me. At one point, a powerful force brought me back to the real world. My soul reconnected with my body. I once again felt pain and distress. After a while, I left my body once again. This time, I felt myself immersed in a much better place. A warm glow permeated my surroundings. There was no bondage of time here, nor was there any pain. An unbelievably pure energy surrounded me, and I felt completely accepted here. In this wonderful place, I feel a stronger connection with the entire universe. There is no material bondage in this place. I felt my soul intertwined with countless other souls, immersed together in a sea of love. I cannot describe exactly how long it lasts because time has no concept here. Suddenly a mysterious signal was sent to my brain. This message was not through the form of words, but a telepathic communication that transcended words. It was asking me if I wanted to move on or return to the real world. I could not determine the source or the gender of the message, but I could feel the friendliness it conveyed. I decided to move on and continue my search for a deeper truth. Just at the moment I made my decision, an arched gate appeared in front of me, which emitted a dazzling white light. On either side of this gate, there were two more, even more massive doors. These doors exuded a sense of sacredness, and they represented different options and possibilities. Each door was a new world. In this moment, I felt like I was standing at a crossroads and needed to make an important choice. I stared at the doors and took a deep breath. I decided to choose the door in the middle. As I stepped through the arched door, a warm energy surrounded me, as if an invisible hand was gently leading me forward. I felt myself entering a whole new realm. A wide corridor appeared in front of me. The walls of the corridor glowed with a soft light. I continued along the corridor with anticipation. In this corridor, I felt a strong love. This love transcends the emotions between individuals. As I neared the end of the hallway, a bright light caught my eye. It emitted a pure light that illuminated a space ahead. In that light, I saw a person waiting for me. Although I could not tell exactly who he was, I sensed that this person was an important person or mentor in my life. His presence gave me a sense of closeness, as if we had known each other for a long time. He exuded an aura of sacredness that made me feel incredibly safe and trusting. The moment I approached him, I felt my soul and his soul merge with each other, and a special connection was established between us. He led me through the bright light and we arrived at a peaceful and beautiful lake. The lake was surrounded by trees and flowers. This place seemed to be an isolated and mysterious paradise. I gazed at my reflection on the lake and felt a sense of inner peace. He told me that I must return to the real world. I replied, "No, I want to stay here." I was afraid to leave such a perfect place. Here I feel complete freedom, and I don't want to lose it all. He patiently explained that returning to the real world did not mean that I would lose my memories and experiences here. Again, I refused his offer. When he heard my refusal, his eyes turned to my belly, and he pointed to my belly and said, "You have to go back for the sake of the baby in your belly." I acted very surprised and joyful at the same time. My husband and I had been married for 4 years and had always longed for a child of our own, but had never been able to do so. We had considered adopting a child. My periods had been delayed for a long time. I had felt a glimmer of anticipation, but was not sure if I was pregnant. But this news made me feel very happy. My eyes were moist. He told me that this child was a special gift, a miracle of life. I had to return to the real world for the sake of this child and for the sake of my dream with my husband. The wizard held out his arm and gestured for me to follow him. The landscape around me began to change. We passed through the tunnel of time and came to a wide, bright space. I was standing in a spacious room with family photos hanging on the walls. I saw myself and my husband, smiling broadly and embracing, with a child behind me. For some reason, I couldn't see this child's face or distinguish the child's gender. A warm atmosphere permeated the room, and I heard the laughter of the child and the family. I crossed to the child's room, which was filled with colorful toys and books. The child was happily playing, and my husband and I were accompanied by the child. Then, I came to a sunny garden. Holding hands, my husband and I strolled through a sea of flowers. We tended the flowers and plants together and felt the beauty of nature. Children were playing in the grass. The scene changed again to a school. I stood at my child's graduation ceremony and watched proudly as my child received his certificate of honor. My husband and I were overwhelmed with pride in our child's accomplishments. I said to my guide, "I know what to choose. I want to go back immediately and tell my husband the good news." The guide smiled and nodded. I reappeared in that hallway. The walls of the corridor glowed softly, as if to bid me farewell. I walked slowly along the corridor. At the end of the corridor, I once again saw the arched gate. Standing in front of the gate, I remembered this amazing experience with gratitude and awe. The wizard stood quietly beside me, smiling as he looked at me. I took a deep breath and gazed at the archway. I knew that I was about to leave this place and return to my reality. The wizard gave me a gentle hug and then turned to leave. Slowly, I returned to the world of reality. The body and my consciousness reconnected. The scenery around me gradually became clear. I found myself lying in a hospital room. A nurse gazed at me with a concerned expression. The nurse gently asked, "How are you feeling?" The nurse immediately brought me a sugary drink. I took the drink carefully and drank it slowly. As time passed, I felt the energy in my body gradually recover and my mind became clear. I lay quietly on my bed and recalled the amazing experience. Despite having returned to the real world, a sense of wonder still pervaded my mind. At this time, my husband came into the hospital room. I held his hand tightly, smiled and said, "Honey, I have something important to tell you." My husband gazed at me nervously. I continued, "We are expecting a little baby, and we are finally going to become parents." My husband gently took my hand and said gently, "Just get some rest." After leaving the hospital, we went to the pharmacy and purchased a pregnancy test. On the way home, my heart was filled with nervousness and anticipation. I entered the bathroom and held the pregnancy test tightly. A few minutes later, the test came back. My hands shook with surprise and tears welled up in my eyes. I was pregnant. My husband heard my excited voice and walked quickly into the bathroom. Looking at the result on the pregnancy test, his face was filled with a happy smile. Later, we went to the hospital. The doctor confirmed that I was pregnant with twins. 9 months later, on a sunny morning, I gave birth to my 2 boys. Their birth brought laughter to the whole family. It has been 20 years since this event, but I remember all the details very well. My 2 sons have grown up to be responsible young men. Recently, I attended my son's graduation ceremony. It was a moment of pride and joy as we witnessed their academic efforts. My heart was filled with emotion and pride as they stood on the stage to receive their honorary certificates. 20 years ago, that experience gave me a new appreciation of the preciousness and infinite possibilities of life. Thanks to that guide, who guided me out of the brink of death and gave me the opportunity to return to my family. His presence and guidance made me appreciate each day more. I also want to thank my husband, who is always by my side, giving me unlimited support and love. He has been a strong support in my life and has faced the challenges and joys of life with me. Most importantly, I would like to thank my 2 sons. They are the most precious gifts in my life, bringing me endless love and joy. They inspire me to be a better person. That experience was like a wonderful revelation to me.